Bill Hall. I'm the general manager for Moose's LZ Bar and Grill, located just off of Fort Indian Town Gap, Pennsylvania. Primarily, I had some retail jobs. I worked in some sales, primarily restaurants, though. I fell into the restaurants. I worked on the corporate side. I worked for Longhorn Steakhouse for a period of time. My mother had a restaurant. I went to school as an art major, but I always fell back into the restaurants. I've been working in restaurants my entire life. For a little over 10 years. Um, yeah, it's been an interesting run. That's the longest I've ever been employed at one single restaurant. Necessarily, I was hired into a management role there. I was friends with Kevin and Pam, Moose and Pam, before I went to work for them. And I was trying to get closer to home and be closer to my kids. Prior to that, I had run a hotel, and hotels never close. They're 24/7, 365. Where Moose's, at the end of the day, you kind of close and lock the doors and walk away from it, and reopen the next day. It's a little bit of a restaurant's a different operation than a hotel is. Well, since it was first open, I mean, it used to be a military bar. Now it's changed more into a family restaurant. Restaurants are different than other business. A lot of times with restaurants, the animal or the monster kind of tells you what it wants to eat, and you feed it that. So our Moose's kind of told us, the business told us that it wanted to be more of a restaurant, and we just kind of went that way. That's the most significant amount of change over the last several years is that we entertain more customers for food than beverage. Um, I mean, yes, any growth is good growth. You always want to do better and more. I'm at a point in my career where I kind of feel like I've touched it, and it may need some additional help to grow. We've grown it about as far as we can grow. If you are a customer of our restaurant, you'll know that sometimes you can't find parking. You can't get any busier. That's a good problem. Moose's LZ was first opened in 2004 by Kevin and Pam Zierfoss. Um, Before that, prior to that, it had been a place called Mountain Springs Inn that was basically a military bar and restaurant. Kevin and Pam bought it in 2004 and turned it into Moose's LZ. Um, yeah, it's a family eating establishment. Tried. They wanted to bring me on board early on, and I don't think it sunk in until 2012. I think the first time they tried to bring me on board was 2009, and at the time I was in the hotels, and I don't move around too much. So it's a tough decision anytime you decide to move on. So no, I actually went to them looking for a job. I didn't necessarily even want to be the manager. That's just where I ended up.